Hope you guys are all having a great weekend. Here is our weekly watch list video highlighting a few stocks we are watching. Enjoy. So, first things first, going to be breaking down QQQ into what we've seen within this past week, and then what we can expect to see within the coming week. And let's start from the weekly. We had this attempted rally higher here last week. We actually triggered that weekly buy, and then we ended up slamming this lower, and really, all we're in is, if you look at this, is just a 3-bar weekly chart consolidation heading into an election that it makes sense for why we are consolidating like this. Now, into the daily chart here, you can see we're still in an overall macro uptrend. But what's interesting here is we put in this failed breakdown lower, and then all of a sudden we came and triggered all the way up into these highs here on Friday up into 490. So for me, longs are on the table over 490.67 here, targeting this 500 area and then 505.21. If we trigger a 3-bar play here on the daily, then I think we have room back down into like this 477.28. And if we really get trending below that, then this 469.39. So that is going to be the ultimate watch, is longs over 490.67 and then shorts below this 477.28 area. One other thing I wanted to touch on is going to be /RTY, which really looked good for the breakout to the upside, because at one point, all of a sudden you're putting in a big bullish bar and you're like, okay, this is the higher low, and now we're going to come make a run back up on this pivot, and even above that, you can make the case for going into all-time highs, or excuse me, 52-week highs here. And instead, what we end up getting is a failed breakout into a strong breakdown into an inside bar here. So how to play this is over this high at 2239.30s, watching a rally up into 2270.80s on really strong trending strength. 2305.50s are not off the table here. Now, if we break the low of this bar right here and trigger this sell, I think we come down into 2176 and potential down into this 2155 area, just from this structure here. Because if we want to make this trend continuation, this failed washout should trigger us and trade us higher up here into these higher levels here. And from the weekly chart on this one, it's simply a 2-bar pullback. So if we can get any buy strength, especially if we break this high, then we're off and running up into this prior pivot right in this general area right here. Again, it's obvious the overall macro is an uptrend here. Does this hold is the question this week, or do we come make a run down into this area down here? The first move on watch is going to be Meta, and not the best weekly chart here, in terms of this is a 3-bar pullback that triggered a buy and then failed and slammed lower. But when we go into the daily chart here, what I like is a potential higher low. So we're coming down, we're retesting this structure here, and you can see how many times we've held. We've held so many times here, so many times here, and then all of a sudden we've held these past 2 days. We had this earnings come out, and now we're finding a bottom around 563. Now, if we just come and put in a strong red sell bar like this, not interested in the long side move here. What I'm looking for is a buy that triggers over 572.76 and any higher low trend up into this 587 area, which simply put would be making this that higher low on the daily, or potential higher low, and confirm up over here, but potential higher low on the daily that could trigger us and trade us from 572 to 587 is a $15 move. So if you can come in and find a stop loss or something with, say, a $2 range and you have a $15 target, well, that's 7.5R. So definitely has the room to trend if we want to get that move. That is going to be what I'll be watching here this week from the Meta daily chart. Amazon coming up, and it's not a surprise that we're rejecting 200. First off, it's a psych region. Second off, look what happened the last time we were here. There's clearly sellers hanging around. There's an overhead supply here, less demand, and we slam lower, put in that lower high, and now my two setups are either longs back over 200 and 200.15 for a move up into, say, like 205 psych region, Or if we come down on Monday, wash out 195.88, you get back and start trending, then this 200.15 is going to be the target. So really, there's those two setups here on this. Not interested in puts on this. Relative strength name that I'm going to be continuing to watch here to the long side. Again, over 200.15 is going to be the main watch. And when you look at it from the weekly, that makes this higher high, or higher low, excuse me, because we confirmed over its high. Nice buying pressure here. I do think we can see that next follow-through bar here. That triggers and trades us back over this prior pivot right here. And Tesla, yes, this one has been relatively weak here this week. There's no question about it. We're trying to hold up on the markets. Yes, we had 2 strong days of selling, but this is the weakest in terms of the weekly, this pullback. But all this is from this daily pullback is when you go into the weekly, that's just a 3-bar play. So this 3-bar play can see us get that trend continuation and trigger us and trade us higher over up into that 275.29 area. So yes, in terms of this daily pullback, it looks deep, but in the terms of this big move it made, this is just digesting this big move here. So for me, longs over 252.90, and if we trigger a daily buy setup, that would be even better up into this 26287 area. So you can see we didn't trigger, didn't here. 5 straight daily sell bars to the downside. If we can trigger that, put in a higher low off of here, then I think we can trade higher, as mentioned, up into 26287. So that is going to be my main watch here in the coming week. Definitely a setup potential. Again, from that weekly chart just being a 1, 2, 3, and you can expect to see some selling pressure here back into these prior pivot highs. One last thing I want to touch on is let's go into this one here and turn after hours on. Let's show extended hours. Is NVIDIA. NVIDIA is getting added to the Dow. This is getting a really, really nice movement and push to the upside here as it's replacing INTC, which is Intel. So this is going to be, I didn't have this on watch earlier, but this is going to be on a heavy, heavy watch here on Monday as well. I just saw this come up in the after hours, but all of a sudden we're pushing into 140s, and this weekly bar here looks like a failure that can trigger us higher. So keeping this one on watch here this week as well. I hope this video helps you guys. If you have any questions, leave them down below and let us know what you guys are watching. And as always, if you could give it a like and subscribe, it would be greatly appreciated. I hope you guys have a great week.